Hey class, we're going to be working on making collages this week. Working with chapter 3 on selecting different things and how, Adobe Photoshop gives you many different ways to select images out, crop things, and find a way to um, basically put together these images into collages. They can be realistic collages or unrealistic collages, weird things hanging off the corner, stuff happening here and there. So, what I encourage you to do is read the chapter and try to experiment with um, just how you can play with these different things. They give you a bunch of stuff to select from, but you can import your own things um, and kind of use their collage as a template to mess around with and make changes to. So there's a ton of information here, and I'm going to show you a few little tricks I do for selecting things out. And if things aren't perfectly selected, that's okay right now. Uh, Sometimes the best thing is just to get a whole bunch of stuff on there and then kind of polish it up as you go. Anyway, I'm excited about trying to jump into actually making some kind of more complex art pieces, and looking forward to seeing what you make. Since we were working with AI stuff, I thought it would be interesting to start to show you how to select things using from Microsoft Designer. So I typed in an old photo, futuristic robotic Chinook salmon, and generated some images. And I'm going to show you. We're going to take this one, and I'll click on it. So in order to download it, you just hit download and do download, and it'll go right up to your downloads. You can find them in your downloads over here. It'll be the last one, or if you have Apple Finder or Windows, you'll look in Windows, but 24, there it is. That's the one we want. So you'd open up this one, and you can see they decided, since it was an old photo, they were going to put a bunch of people in hats and stuff. It's pretty cool. I actually really like it, but I'm going to show you how to select out of this. So you go to thumbnail, drag this into your Photoshop app right down here, and it'll open up Photoshop, and you'll instantly have it in Photoshop. Now, if you click on this over here, this object selection tool, this is a super powerful new tool that basically makes it really easy to select things. You can just basically draw a rectangle around it, or even just click on the object. Sometimes just clicking on it does a better job of drawing the rectangle. See that? Because it kind of understood this whole thing is what you wanted. When you get that selected, see how the dotted lines around it tell you it's selected? I always go up to select and mask. And this will really help you see what is actually being selected and what isn't. And if you zoom in by hitting Command or Control and the plus sign, you can see that we have a little bit of an issue here where there's some part of the fin that's showing. And also, the AI likes to draw a fin here instead of the adipose fin. It's actually a weird problem. So anyway, we're going to go and we're going to use the brush tool in this case. There's a bunch of different tools here that you can use to finesse your selection. But the one I'm going to show you is a brush tool. It's pretty simple. Click on the brush tool, and when you're over here, you'll see there's a plus and a minus up here on the top, and also your brush size. If we click the minus, we can get rid of stuff we don't want. See that? I can just kind of like get rid of it. If we click the plus, we can add to stuff. If we want to, like, say, kind of add to the adipose fin right here. And even though this is the wrong color, it'll kind of like add the shape to this selection. So since we got in the add mode, I'm going to just add a little more to the fin here. And I'm going to keep it pretty simple because this is, I don't want to go crazy on this. Go back to see the full screen. You go Command 0, and that gives you the full screen. You see what you're selecting. And then when you go down here, there's a bunch of refinements. You can kind of refine the radius of your selection, etc. But it's pretty good. So you can shift the edge to make it wider or smaller if you know that's going to help decontaminate colors. Um, but this part down here, output to selection, we can do an output to a new layer with a layer mask. And if we say OK, you'll see this layer mask. Now, a layer mask means that at any point, I can go back in and add or subtract from the mask. So I could add, people back in, or if I messed up, I can, change it around, which is a pretty nice way to work sometimes, to have that little extra. If you want to just make it a straight layer at any point, go up to layer and just go layer mask, and then you're going to hit apply, and it'll make it just one big layer without all the fancy stuff. And if you click on it kind of till it turns blue, kind of light click, you can name it. I'll name it Robotic Chinook 6. Okay. Now, if I wanted to, I can take this fish and I can just copy this, control copy or command copy. I can copy that layer and I can put it anywhere I want. So, for instance, I have this futuristic city here with some fish I've already put in it. I can just go command paste or control paste, and voila, it's in this picture with these other fish. I may or may not want this here, but just to show you kind of how to work with this. Once I get it in there, it's in this mode where I can change the size by just, pushing it back and forth. If I want the size to stay constrained, and I want the width and the height to not change, make sure that that's on. If you want to change one or the other, like make it a narrower fish or something, you can do that by just unclicking this little linking icon. If you want, over here, they have a real quick way of, like, if I want to have the fish pointing the other direction, I could, click on that to flip it one way or the other. I'm going to keep it going this way because they're all moving that way. The other thing, while it's all selected, I can go to image. Oh, I have to apply the transformation first before you can do anything. So if that ever happens to you, that's what's happening. So apply your transformation, and then you can go to image and adjustments. And there's a really great one if you happen to be working with sepia stuff. Under hue and saturation, you go up here to sepia, and it will allow you to make more of a sepia tone to your image. And you can change the lightness and make it a darker image or a lighter image. You can change the hue if you wanted a little different hue to go with the picture. So that's kind of the beauty of looking at your screen and kind of reacting to it. And then you say, okay. And I can also go to image, adjust levels. And this one is a really, really one you'll use a lot. And by just pulling in the highlights, it increases the highlights. See how it kind of brightened it up? And by pulling in the mid-range this way, it darkens the mid-range, so it gets a little more contrast. And then the dark really gives it more pop. So you can kind of adjust the image so it works in the world that you're working in. So there you have it. There's a little example of collaging things into a space. And you'll notice here we've got these layers. I've got this one, this one, this one, and this one. And I can just kind of add these different layers to the picture. And hopefully that was helpful. And just so you remember, I'm going to go one last time. You go to File and Export as, and then we're going to export this and make sure it's 1,000 on only one side so it can load pretty fast. And I'm going to name this 2 because it's a little different than my original one. And we got it. Save, and then you can just load it into your canvas and we'll talk about it. Okay, talk to you later, and can't wait to see what you do. All right, bye.